Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd. So my friends over at yarnspirations.com. Today's the Wrap-ture Crochet Shawl. This is an older shawl and it was actually really thick yarn and it was using Red Heart Evermore. So what I've decided to do is that I looked at this and I thought, okay, what would it look like in a 4-ply kind of concept yarn? So I decided to try this particular pattern using Roll With It Melange. And now the pattern that I have is using Hollywood, which is this color here. It's absolutely just stunning. So what I'm going to do for this one is that there's gonna be two thumbnails. One will have this picture of this just in case this is your style here and you can do that, and then I'm also gonna do another thumbnail, but they're essentially the same video. So it's a really easy repeat pattern and there is a difference between the two patterns that I did, and the one that we're using, the Red Heart Melange here, is going to have a different repeat because it's obviously using smaller yarn, so therefore you have to do the repeats more times. So if you want that information, just come on over to my website. You'll find that information on the crochetcrowd.com underneath this article of calling it the Wrap-ture Crochet Shawl. So without further ado, you are going to need a 9mm size M crochet hook and the Red Heart Evermore, which is a really thick yarn. But if you would like to do it in a 4-ply more medium waisted or worsted yarn, it can be a 5.5mm size I crochet hook, which is in my hand. I'm gonna be demonstrating with Caron 1 Pound today because I don't want to crack open a new ball just to demonstrate. So this melange version that I have only requires 2 balls that we have. So let's begin and let's get started right now. As we begin today's pattern, the repeat actually starts on row number 2. So once we get beyond the first row, row number 2 all the way through 11 is a repeat of this. Now the bigger, thicker yarn, the Evermore, what's gonna happen is that your repeat is only gonna be 1 time, but for this one here it's gonna be several times, and you'll find that information on my website. So what we're going to do is then I'm gonna show you all the rounds for the all the rows for the repeat. So 2 through 11 is the repeat. So 2 is right here and it extends all the way to this one here that creates these posts, and then it continues on just being able to repeat the pattern. And once you understand this, you can literally put the pattern away because you will fully get it. So hopefully so. So this yarn looks really quite lovely, and let's begin our story now. So let's begin with the slip knot. We're starting in the back of the neck, therefore we can go as big as we need to go. So we're gonna chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That will count as a double crochet and a chain 1 space. And I need you to start all the way in the first chain here and double crochet, and then chain 1. So this spacing, that this here counts as 1, this is 2, you need a total of 6. So after you've done the chain 1, which I've already done, you're going to double crochet again and then chain 1. So how many do you see? 3. So you want 6. So let's continue to do that until we see 6. So make sure you chain 1 in between these posts. So I can see 6. So we're gonna turn your work and let's begin our story, and this will then start with us. And what you can do in the middle one, so you can see 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the middle one they're suggesting to put a stitch marker. You may want to do that just to get yourself to understand where the point is. So just grab a spare piece of yarn, and in that space, which is the middle space, just put in a stitch marker and you'll see it in the future, and then once you come to understand it you can probably not have to use it. So let's just put this back on and let's begin row number 2. So row number 2 is the start of a repeat pattern, so keep that in mind. And what you're keeping in mind here is this point space. So you'll notice in the instructions rows 3 and 5 that are coming up are different than they are from 2 and 4. So you make sure that you are understanding that when you go to do it. So let's just do row number 2. So you're gonna chain 4. So 1, 2, 3. That's a double crochet, and the 4th chain is a chain 1 space. And now you're gonna come into the next space right here, and you're going to double crochet and then chain 1. And you're gonna keep doing that until you get to the space that's marked with the stitch marker. It's the point. Okay, so you're coming into the next space, chain 1, and the next one just happens to be a corner. So in this corner here for row number 2, you are going to apply a double crochet, chain 2, and a double crochet in. Now if you can't keep an eye on the point, just move that stitch marker up so that you can see it again in the future. And if you think you got it, don't worry about it. So then once you're done the point, chain 1 and you're just going to the next space, double crochet and watch the end. So chain 1, you're coming to the end, so go into the space first with the double crochet, then chain 1 and then into the third chain up of this, go right in for a double crochet. And that's what it will look like here. Nice triangle. So now you're gonna turn your work and do row number 3. So row number 3 and 5 are done the same way. So just keep this in mind. So you're just going to chain up a total of 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So that counts as a double crochet and a chain 1, and in the next space you want a double crochet. So it's like it was in row number 2. The difference is how you're handling the point. It's different. So chain up 1, go to the next space, double crochet, chain up 1, double crochet in the next space, chain up 1, and then you're here. So the way that I would do it if I were you is that you have to have it look a certain way. So I'll just show you the way it looks. So you're gonna double crochet first, chain 1, and then double crochet again and chain 1 and double crochet again and chain 1 and double crochet again, and then finish it with the chain 1 before we move on. So what you're looking at for the point on rows number 3 and 5 is that there's a total of 4 of these posts that do that. So the middle one here, do you see in between the two, is the next point. So if you want to move up your stitch marker, now is a great time to do that, and then you'll see it again in the future. So after you've done the point, you're gonna move down the side. So we've already chained 1, so come to the next space, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the next space, chain 1, double crochet the last space here, chain 1, and then go right into a turning chain itself for the last one, and that was row number 3. So you see how the point looks different. So let's turn our work and do row number 4. So row number 4 is like how we did row number 2. So the point where it's been marked is going to be the double crochet, chain 2, double crochet only. So let's begin. So we're gonna chain 4. So that's your double crochet and chain 1. Come into the first space and double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the next space, chain 1, and do that all the way to where it's marked, to the corner. Chain 1. So that corner is next. So in the corner for this one, this is row number 4, it's gonna be a double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet. And if you need to move that stitch marker, now's the time to do it. So after the corner is done, make sure you chain 1 before you begin, and then come down the other side. So double crochet, chain 1, and you're gonna do that all the way to the end. And finally chain 1 and go into the turning chain to finish off row number 4. Let's turn our work and do row number 5. So row number 5 is the same thing as row number 3. See these, the 4 that you see? That's what we're gonna be doing. So this is going to be applied to number 5. So chain up 4 to begin, and then double crochet into each space going all the way to the point, so the corner spot. So I found myself, I can identify where those corners are. So I kind of started axing out, moving up the stitch marker because I was starting to see it. Okay, so in the point where it's been marked, or if you know where the point is, start off with the double crochet. Oops, I gotta make sure I chain 1 before I get into there. So you're gonna double crochet, chain 1, and I wanna be able to see 4 of these double crochets that are separated by a chain 1 space. Okay, so I see 4 in there, so it means I'm done. So chain 1 and then come down the other side all the way to the end. and then this will stop the meshing at this point. So this is gonna be the end of row number 5 when we get there. And so row number 6 we're then going to switch off, and we're gonna be doing something slightly different to get ourselves ready for another section of this particular idea. So come right to the end, and let's turn our work and begin row number 6, and this time we're now going to start going solid. In row number 6 we're going to start going solid, and it's really quite easy to maintain. So you can move up the stitch marker to the middle one if you can't see it, but if you can see it, hopefully that's good. And you're going to start off and you're gonna chain 3. So that counts as your first double crochet. So in each one of these chain 1 spaces all the way except for the corner one is going to be 2 double crochet into each. So nice and easy. So just slam in 2 double crochets into each one. So the point is next. So I can see it there. So you see how it's the middle space. So in the point for these you're gonna apply 2 double crochet first, and then only chain 1, and then 2 double crochet into the same spot, and that effectively turns the point. Now starting in the next space all the way to the end is just 2 double crochet in each. And then in the last turning chain itself apply 1 double crochet so that it keeps the balance. So that was row number 6. Let's turn our work and begin row number 7. So what I want you to pay attention to is that this mesh, so axe out the first one here, is made up of 4 rows. So 2, 3, 4, and 5. The solid rows, there is a total of, so it's 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 that you have. So there's 5 rows, but we're actually gonna finish on row number 11, which will be then the end of the repeat, which is then another one of the mesh that will be starting. So what I want you to pay attention to is that once we get beyond the repeat there will be 5 rows of mesh that you can see, and then 5 rows of the solid, and hopefully that's great information for you. Let's begin rows 7 through 10. Let's begin row number 7, 8, 9, and 10. So they're all the same. You're gonna chain 3, counts as your first double crochet, and in the same stitch where that's coming out of apply a double crochet. You are then going to double crochet yourself all the way in each stitch to the point. So I'll be quiet now and I'll see you at the point in just a second. So when you get to the point, let's see if we can identify, because I didn't move it. So there is the 2, chain 1 and 2. So it's this chain 1 space that is there. So don't forget the stitch just before it. And then in that space you're going to apply 2 double crochet, chain 1 and 2 double crochet. And then you're going to move down the other side. So starting in the first stitch going down is just 1 into each, except for the very last one you'll put 2 double crochets there. I'll see you there in a second. I'm just gonna be quiet for a moment. So in the final turning chain, which is coming up in just right here, make sure you put in 2 double crochets into the final. So that was row number 7. So when you turn your work, you're gonna do the same thing for 8, 9 and 10, and I'll leave that for you now, and then I'll pick you up on row number 11. So do exactly what I just showed you first for the remaining of 8, 9 and 10, and I'll see you on row 11 next. So I've now just finished 8, 9 and 10. So what we have here is that you should be able to see 5 rows of solid double crochets, which includes this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're now ready to go back to the mesh. So to return to the mesh, you have to do row number 11 before returning back to number 2 and doing this cycle all over again. So row 11 is what creates that additional row of mesh. So there's a total of 5. So let's pick this up and do row number 11, and I'll show you how to do this as well. So let's begin row number 11. So watch row 11 as we begin. We're gonna chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a double crochet and chain 1 space like it was before. And we're gonna double crochet into the same stitch, and then we're gonna chain 1, and in the very next stitch you have to put in a double crochet, and then we're gonna create those spaces. So just think of it like you have a space, a double crochet, and then a space, a double crochet. That's the way to look at it. So chain 1, skip the next stitch out and double crochet, and you're gonna do this all the way to the point. So chain 1, skip the next stitch, double crochet to the next. Okay, so do this all the way to the point. I'll see you there in just a moment. Now if your counts are right, see where I am? I have 1 extra stitch before the end. So when I chain 1, I'm skipping that stitch and I'm going right into a corner. So the corner here, remember what it was on number 2? It's the same thing. So it's a double crochet, chain 2 and a double crochet to turn. So when you turn, you're going to chain up 1, skip the first one out and go right to the second one, and then begin to double crochet, and then chain 1, skip the next one, and do that. So I'll see you at the end. I'll quiet now and we'll continue. Now when you get to the end, so you're gonna skip the last one, next one, and then you're gonna go to the one, and it's one just before the end. So that's a double crochet there, chain 1, and then you're going to come into the turning chain, double crochet, but you're not done, chain 1, and then double crochet again into the turning chain. So this is creating those spaces that you need. So let's turn our work and let's lay it down. So now you're ready to go back to number 2 again, and all you're just doing is when you were back here, you just filled in the spaces that you have. So we've now created those spaces, and that's where you're gonna begin your story. So you can just reverse back now to number 2 to begin our story. Now if you would like to do the edging of this one here, all you just need to do is just trace the edging all the way around with just single crochets. You're gonna be finishing on row number 8 as per the pattern of the one that's written. Myself, I actually finished on row number 7. That allowed me to actually not have to break into a third ball. And all you're just gonna do is just trace the edge with a single crochet, and then in the corner that you have, you'll do 3 single crochets as you make the corners to be able to do around, and then you'll trace it. For myself, I decided not to for my particular sample because I like the way the stripes looked and I wanted it to look nice and even, but of course you can decide what is going to work for your lifestyle the best. So that's what I would do if I were you, and that's how you would continue. And this is the Wrapture Crochet Shawl by Edie, and this is an awesome day right here on the Crochet Crowd as well as my friends over at yarnspirations.com. See ya.